This is NDTV. And you're watching NDTV Prime. In association with Micromax. Nothing like anything.
For a young boy from small town Dariba in Rajasthan to the streets of New York and finally back home in India, proudly boasting of $1 billion startup, this young entrepreneur has had quite the journey. He is Pranay Chulet, the man behind Quikr, the online classifieds that's today valued at over $1.5 billion. This Bangalore-based startup is widely known in India as a platform for buying and selling goods. Armed with a bachelor's degree in chemical engineering from IIT Delhi and masters from IIM Calcutta, Pranay spent over a decade working in the US as a consultant and digital media guru with consulting firms like Michelle Madison Group and PricewaterhouseCoopers.
My background is I grew up in Rajasthan. I thought I would never live in a big city, and the first thing I did after getting education was to go to New York City to work. So, I was working there for a number of years. So I decided to make a film. I left everything. For 6 months in New York, I was struggling to make an indie film. And I had no background in the film industry. I had learned how to make filmmaking in New York, but I had no idea how to go about making a film. I used this website called Craigslist in the US, and I was a first-time writer. I had written this extremely ambitious script, outdoor locations, cast of 50 actors. Those who know films know what I'm talking of. And of course, it did not have exactly the budget of a Titanic. So I went about recruiting all these 50 actors from this website called Craigslist, which showed me the power of platforms like Quikr. And then I had some sequences in India. Of course, it was an ambitious script. I was shooting right here in Old Delhi, and I had no platform here to recruit actors from. That's when I thought something like Craigslist could work in India, and in 2008, I came back to India to build the company.
His startup Quikr is inspired from US-based classified advertisements website Craigslist, and it currently operates in over 12 categories, the popular ones being its services platform, Quikr Services, real estate vertical, Quikr Homes, and Quikr Jobs for job search. With over 1,600 employees and close to 30 million unique visitors a month, Quikr has gained attention from the likes of Tiger Global Management, Matrix Partners India, Norwest Venture Partners, investor biggies that are backing this venture. According to a Deutsche Bank report, the size of India's online classifieds industry was at Rs 1,800 crore in 2013 and is expected to grow to Rs 4,500 crore by 2018. Branding and marketing was an area the startup focused on in 2015, with buzzing ad campaigns and a Bollywood celeb as their brand ambassador.
Quikr Homes, आसान है बदलना.
As far as 2016 is concerned, the young founder says it will be the year of growth for his venture with the belief that they will stay quicker and 2 steps ahead of their competition. With Simarpreet Kaur Sembi, Sharon Alex for NDTV.
Time now to introduce our very special guest on the program, Pranay Chulet, the man who founded Quikr, the online classifieds cutting across sectors. Thanks so much for speaking to us, Pranay Chulet. You're, of course, also one of our Indians of the Year. Let me start by asking you all the questions that I know so many of us want answers to, including all those of us who want to be entrepreneurs or wish that we had tried our hands at starting up. Up first, where did it all start from you? Where did the idea sort of come about, and how important do you think the idea is? Because different people have different opinions on the most important thing to a successful startup. What do you believe is the role of the idea?
See, I think the funny thing with startups is there is no good idea, that there's no one kind of magic trick. Things look very easy in hindsight when they become big. But I think you got to basically go with your gut when you're starting something. Of course, you do your analysis in terms of what could be the market potential for whatever you're trying to create. But beyond that, I think beyond the initial analysis, everything changes anyway once you launch the company. Like they say, no battle plan lasts the first cry of the battle. So, that's pretty much true for startups also. So I think there's no one magic trick. You have to go with your gut, and you have to just go after something that you think you will build passionately.
Right, and they do say that genius is 99% perspiration, 1% inspiration. Is it any different for a successful startup, the founder of one of India's unicorns? Is it any different? How much hard work do you believe has gone into your mega success today?
No, I would say both things are equally important. The one's strategy about how to go about building the business also is important, but then yes, I think there is no denying that ultimately it does come down to execution. I'm very fond of always saying whenever we have conversations with our larger team that it's a lot of little things that make one big thing, and so every little thing that you do, it's important to always keep in mind that it's building up to something bigger, and when you look at that big thing ultimately, it doesn't just come about in one day.
Right, now you've been one of those clearly very bright, brilliant students, if I may say so. You've been to the IITs, you've been to the IIMs, really considered the holy grail. How do you believe that your time spent on these campuses have shaped you to becoming the entrepreneur that you are today?
I think it's more about what you learn just beyond academics. It is about what you learn from your peers. You see so many people who are as smart, or in so many cases even smarter than you are, and those are the things that shape you. You realize that the world is a big place, it's full of talent, and it's incredible what a group of people can do together, which a lonely person could not. So I think that's probably, but that's what is more important than just the pure academic part of it. I would always value that, I would say, at least as much as the academic part of these institutions. And of course in India, I think we do have, we attach a certain premium or impression to the IIT IIM brand, but it's a little bit like the legendary Mera Baap Chor Hai stamp from the movie Diwar, which never leaves you. But I think that's just a beginning for anyone's career, really. The real thing comes after that.
Okay, now if I could ask you, with the wisdom of hindsight, the one thing that you believe, a decision that you took, or the one move that you made while setting up Quikr that you believe has worked, and the one thing also very importantly that you wished you had done differently, and if others were perhaps confronted by the same situation, they ought to perhaps follow what you did or didn't do.
It's hard to point that one thing. I mean, I think my complaint always, and we are a company that likes to move fast. Given that our very name is Quikr, it will be a travesty if we start moving slower. So all my regrets and hindsight would be about how, why couldn't we have done things even sooner? And I say this while taking full cognizance of the fact that our team in general takes pride in our speed to execute things, but I'm always a little impatient about how fast we can move.
Well, if the idea is one thing, some say the team building is a big challenge, and getting the right team, perhaps the most important thing that stands between you and success. How difficult was it for you personally to put together these like-minded people who would eventually go on to script the success that Quikr has had?
I think so first of all, I do think this thing is a bit sequential. You have to have the right team, and then all the right things, including funding, fall in place. It's hard to start it the other way and put a good team together. The biggest thing I would say about building a team is you have to be very comfortable in your own skin. You have to be confident about working with people who are hopefully much smarter than you are, which is certainly true in my case. So I do think that is the biggest thing that one needs to realize when building a team. And beyond that, one other important thing, especially in a fast-growing company which has a broad footprint, so to say, is to make sure that people who are building various parts of the company, they are feeling like it's their own baby. It's just wrong for one person to not give them their room, because best things do happen when you let people make mistakes but make their calls.
Right, you're being touted as a unicorn, valuation $1 billion plus. What does this really mean to you? When you sort of sit back, do you say, oh wow, I'm now a unicorn? Does it mean nothing at all? And you say, there are so many more frontiers to conquer. What does this unicorn status mean for you personally, Pranay Chulet?
I think it just means a little bit extra work. The whole unicorn stamp in India has, in our country, has taken a little bit of a life of its own. I think you can look at it as another milestone in the growth of the company. That's certainly how we look at it. I think there's no doubt in my mind Quikr is going to be several times bigger in the next 2 to 3 years than it is today. So there are so many milestones we've crossed. I think it's as important and no more as our very first milestone, which was when we first crossed 100,000 users. So I think it's yet another step in the journey. That's the best way to put it.
Any successful entrepreneur, you are constantly being asked for tips, advised what to do, what not to do, etc. Now, Nikesh Arora told us once that the one way for people to get money from them, entrepreneurs to get money from SoftBank and from him, is to not say that you need the money. Just tell him that you have a great idea, you have a great plan, you're just going to go out there and do it. Is that something that you would agree with, or do you approach it differently?
Not to be too perfectionist. Too much of a perfectionist. I think I like to look for flexibility, because like I already said, things always change. When you're creating a young company from scratch, it's just impossible for you to fathom every single thing that will come your way. So the biggest thing is the ability to adapt, to realize how the market is evolving and evolve your business in a way that'll best support its growth. So to me, I think the ability to experiment, to change, tolerance for ambiguity, those are the things that make a good entrepreneur, because there's only so much you can plan in this thing.
Right. Right now, as far as competition is concerned, we are seeing that all sectors getting rather filled up. They're saying that, there is a lot of competition. There is a fair amount of saturation in some sectors. How do you see competition? Is it flattering? Does it keep you on your toes? A bit of it all? Something else?
I would say competition, comes in two forms. One form is, good, strong competition, and that's good. That keeps you on your toes, and also pushes you that extra bit. But it also is, there is a second form of competition, if you will, that is more noise. And so I think you need to make sure that you are focused on your own business more than competition. You are certainly learning from competition, but you're not getting distracted by every little thing that's happening in the market around you. Especially when when your footprint is large. I think you need to be confident about your strategy and how it'll help you capture the market. The competition will, it's a great part of company growing up. And you should learn from it, but I think that's kind of where it stops, and that's how I look at it.
Right, and 2015 was all about banner headlines that screamed valuations, that screamed investments. X has now got money worth these many millions or billions, as the case may be. 2016, we're told, is going to be a more circumspect year for startups. You're going to have to show performance. You're going to have to show execution. Is that how you believe the next couple of years will be for this startup space? Or do you believe that there are things that are going to sort of look up as far as money is concerned? Will there be other issues that will be in focus?
I think in some ways I would say, the coverage of Indian startups in our media is a little bit similar to the coverage of the Indian cricket team. When they do well, they become the best things that walk the earth, and when they do not so well, suddenly, or if something goes against expectations, then they become the people that just shouldn't have been there in the first place. So I think, see, this is the way I look at it is simple. It's a fast growing industry. And mark my words, our industry is going to continue to grow. It will go through a period of what I call violent growth in the next 4 to 5 years, because we are just a completely different large market as compared to any other market in the world. So there is still more surprises to come. A lot of growth, but a lot of surprises as well. I think it's a growing industry which will grow through its ups and downs a little bit here and there. The macro trend is super clear. It will be a fast growing industry for many years to come, and one should, I think, just realize that and take various ups and downs with what is the word I'm looking for? A little bit of more peaceful attitude, because these things will be there. They're a part of an industry growing up.
But you began from Dariba in Rajasthan, you moved to New York, now the founder of Unicorn. Is this going to be the first chapter of your autobiography? Is it going to begin from Dariba in Rajasthan? And what's the journey been like so far?
I have not gotten to the point of thinking about my autobiography yet, but no, I think it's about if I look back and see if I try to spot a common thread through everything I've done in my life, I think it is about, I've always enjoyed creating things, and whether it was being very involved with things like maybe painting as a kid, or putting puzzles together, growing up, learning how to make movies, and then also doing my bit with entrepreneurship. I think all these things have that common element. So everything else, there are so many other things that are important in life as well, but if you try to spot that sort of soft thread that runs through the things you do and the choices you make, I think for me it will definitely be the joy of creating something from scratch. There are very few things in the world that can beat that.
Right, it's truly been a remarkable one, truly inspirational for the rest of us and all those watching, hoping to be in your shoes one day. Pranay Chulet, many, many congratulations, and thanks so much for taking our time to speak to us. Pleasure as always having you on the program.
Likewise, thank you.